Hey, kitty. Let's go to the Gnome King's castle. Yeah. With a magical Gnome Kingdom wizard. Let's go to the Gnome King's castle. With a magical Gnome Kingdom wizard. Let's go to the Gnome King's castle. With the magical Gnome Kingdom wizard. Let's go to the Gnome King's castle. With the magical Gnome Kingdom wizard. Let's go to the Gnome King's castle. With the magical Gnome Kingdom wizard. Let's go to the Gnome King's castle with a magical Gnome Kingdom wizard. Yeah. To the Gnome King's castle. Well, all things considered with a magical Gnome Kingdom wizard. Let's go to the Gnome King's castle and the magical Gnome Kingdom wizard will tell you what's in the other dimension of the Gnome Kingdom's castle. With a magical wizard of the Gnome Kingdom. Turn from stone into this metaphysical dimension. Back home. In the Gnome King's castle. Yonder Gnome King Castle. Yeah. Magical. Artistic wonderland. We've just teleported back to the Gnome King's Castle in a parallel universe, another dimension. Here we are. We're back in the Wizard's Palace. Welcome to the Round Table of Modern Philosophers with Chris Rawlings, Tony Behr, and Jesse Severe. Have to pray to the magic wizard Gnome King. I'm going to pray to the magic Gnome King to help save artistic creativity and original ideas. Welcome to the other dimension with the Gnome King Wizard.
What?
Thank you for joining us in the Cosmic Studio, where anything can happen. With constructive chaos and happy accidents can be your best friends. Thank you. Welcome to the other dimension with the Gnome King Wizard and Tony Behr of the new studio.
But don't you know you shouldn't pray to false gods for magic, you know? Oh. No, you shouldn't pray to false gods for magic. No.
I'm not a false god. I'm just a cosmic wizard Gnome King. Now we're going to take a look at some original ideas. We're always looking for new original ideas. The second question is, the cosmic Gnome King wizard. Any other dimension? Just remember, I don't know about that. The ultraviolet is the spectrum that is out of what we can visibly see. Violet spectrum again.
The ultraviolet is what we can perceive out of our actual vision.
So it's what we can't perceive, like in a metaphysical dimension,
Correct.
beyond our actual vision.
Absolutely.
Well, the game's intergalactic wizards in another dimension. So, here we are in Tony's studio, and back in, well, from the parallel universe, from the Gnome King's castle.
Yes, sir.
Back into reality, or our own form of alternate reality.
The perception of reality is in each individual's own mind. What do you think?
Yeah, it's subjective, based on artistic perspective.
Absolutely.
So, I feel like they're following me, they're watching me.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much what they're meant to do.
But
why would
it depends on what do you want to put out there.
Why would you expect anything different than following you?
Right, you don't want to be ignored, so
Absolutely. Well, I'm not interested in being ignored or being followed, so I don't know, there's maybe something to the fact that they're following us, that they're fulfilling their curiosities.
it's hard not to, it's hard to say, to be able to make a living and then not have, it's like hard to do that by yourself if you have to have some sort of like, they're calling it followers is a whole different like connotation to it, more like, collaborators. I'm always willing to give, original artists ideas, room to experiment, or,
Are these the aliens or are these the consumers? Or are they
alienated alienated consumators.
Consumators. I see a consumator right over there.
Freckles. Oh. Sometimes, anyways, I think they're following me or watching me, but that's a good thing, a bad thing, depending on how they look at it, right?
I mean, I think you're just being paranoid, man.
That's right. They know who we are, but if they orchestrate the internet, but the news doesn't dictate what I post on Facebook, so they can't control everyone with fear. So they can't watch everyone all the time unless you put yourself out there, depending on, you want to live your life today or work your life away. Or do you want to work your life away and live your life today? Right? Does one have to be exclusive of the other? I mean, it seems like the more money is involved, the more expectation is to work harder and harder and harder, but then it's kind of easy to lose sight of how to, enjoy life or come up with new original ideas, which you have to be like in a childlike state of mind to be able to do. And you better watch what they say. They could be spying on us right now.
They probably are. I mean, typically we're being spied on one way or the other.
Or are we spying on ourselves? The third eye is symbolic of hidden potential in us all. The waits to awaken the psychic spiritual revelations of positive extrasensory perception connections. Our psychic powers could be used for good or evil, but free will was given to us as a gift, God, in order to be free of the dangers of mass enslavement. And individuality can free us from that. If we have too much conformity, that could be a problem, because not everyone is logically being controlled like a computer. Artificial intelligence would like to think that we can be organized like that, but the organic chaos can go back to chaos at any time. If our free will is the only thing that can define our species, then let's use our individuality more constructively. Yeah, the hive minds unite, but its arrogance of force could ignore the smaller threats of uniqueness, or they could be constructively used individually instead of perceived as threats. Nonconformity is the key to spirituality, understanding when the norm chooses to ignore what is most demanding in life. Your mind's third eye is golden. We all have the power of God and extrasensory perception within us to set us free, to find what's good to grow. It's an odd non sequitur. What do you mean by that?
Like, to me, this is
art.
its own thing, and to be like, and by the way, buy my jewelry. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like
it kind of distracts from the creative flow of the process.
I don't. Yeah, to me,
Exactly.
well, and your friends might have said that because, you know, to me it's not necessary. And I'm down to take routes here and there and everything, but it almost like to me, it doesn't make sense for me to put that in there.
Yeah.
If anything, it's promoting me as a human being and as an artist. I don't need to promote like my actual my
Your
stuff,
studio.
my name.
Even though we're like physically and at your studio at this point.
Well, and we've already.
But you have a brand name,
We've
right?
already delved into the concept that, you know, name recognition is what the.
Well, that is your
means more than anything.
That is your
you know.
trademark, you know, your brand name.
Right.
Kind of like Gnome King Productions is Gnome King is a nickname my friends gave me because, you know, I draw gnomes, I have an overactive imagination, but Gnome King Productions is just one of those creative ways to kind of like put
Is
a
it
tag.
overactive or just active?
It's, I mean, ever since I was a kid, it depends on, you know, how you define what's overactive. That's a good question too.
I always got told I was over analytical, and it fucking bugged the shit out of me. I was just like, and I always said, "Oh no, I'm highly contemplative. I like to contemplate. Don't call me fucking over analytical because I like to think about things and I care about things and I want to analyze.
Well, yeah.
You know, the world. So over means that I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing.
Which is,
So
yeah,
you
there's no
just
reason-
said what
Or
you
just
just
being
stated.
philosophical. Like any artist is a philosopher. So basically, you're just being philosophical.
But
Like,
what did you just say about?
what I wanted to say was like,
You said you have an overactive imagination.
well, maybe I shouldn't have let that make me self-conscious. That, you know, that's what you're
Well,
basically saying.
And I'm trying to, and the reason that I'm bringing it up is because it's been put into your brain to think it that way.
Well, yeah, there's a reason for everything.
And you've been told, in the fact that someone has explained and put it in your mind that it's overactive and not just active or adequately active.
Or that I have to be
you
somewhere
know.
or somehow to be able to expose that when it's just natural, your childlike state of mind
And-
that's within everyone else.
And me pointing
Subconscious.
that out is so that you recognize that your language, and because to me what you just stated is you're using that language, and that means that you believe it to be that way. And the thing is that's not the case. It's as active as you fucking want it to be.
Well, that's true.
And you're using words that people have put in your mind because they feel that way. So I guess I do this to people sometimes because of my own things.
Well,
where,
that's the nature of an artist.
you know,
You're challenging people to look at things from a different perspective. That's the job. You wouldn't be
Chris.
doing, you know, your job as an artist if you weren't doing that.
You have an active imagination.
Yeah.
You don't have an overactive imagination. That's what I'm getting at. I'm sorry if I'm being like
No, that's fine.
psychoanalyst and
I psychoanalyze
You
myself
know?
all the time. I'm heavy in the psychology and
And there's
philosophy and
also-
psychology.
I'm trying to give you the fucking the ability to have the double birds to the people that instilled in your mind that what you're doing is overactive and not just being Chris and being an
There should be a way to make
So-
a living at it instead of having, you know, to adapt and conform to everyone else's standards. But then again, it's like just finding your own individuality. Like Gnome King Productions, even though it's a nickname, Gnome King. It was given to me by my friends. It takes on a whole other meaning. Like it could be used to represent alienated weirdos or rejects of society or struggling, starving artists. Or I mean, I'm not just here to give myself, you know, props. I'm trying to give other people the opportunity to have original ideas.
Sure.
Be seen instead of, you know, so we can improve culture instead of regurgitating the same old ideas. That, you know, I don't want to recycle something that's been done before too much, but that's the whole point of art, is creating something new. It's obviously always the challenge to find something that has never been done before. And people say, well, you can't do that. Everything's some sort of recycled version of some other idea, and I beg to differ. I think that's my ultimate goal challenge is to find the idea that ultimately has never been done before, you know, and if that's become like
and it hasn't been done
copywritten by me, then I don't need a corporation to do that. Or you know, you can do that on your own too.
Right.
But then again, I want to give other people creative freedom, like you, to collaborate
Sure.
and empower, you know, the underdogs of society at Gnome King Productions here, who will root for you all and all the original thinkers out there, you know, ready to donate new ideas to society in order to improve.
I guess the only reason I was having any kind of debate in that sense was that it was I personally wasn't interested in a shameless plug, or I personally didn't really feel like
I didn't mean for it to be a shameless plug. I
or
mean,
not
just,
even it's a shameless plug. I didn't feel it wasn't the timing that I desire to plug it.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So like, thank you for the offer. I'm not interested in plugging it at this point.
Okay.
And I'll say I wouldn't plug it through this medium and through Gnome King Productions. It was the timing, I suppose.
Well, I do kind of want to check out some of your studio because I mean, you have an art studio, and I tend to like work in my own house as a production studio. But it's nice to get out in a different realm, another environment outside of the Gnome King's castle. That's why they call me the Gnome King Wizard, the underdogs here at the round table of modern philosophers. So, would you like
recording?
Would you like to give? Yeah, possibly. Would you like to give us a tour at Gnome King Productions of your actual art here? We must summon up inspiration from the metaphysical dimensions of the afterlife and beyond our imaginations.
Possibly. The thing that's funny is I actually didn't know you were.
Well, I'm trying to seem as natural as possible, and actually, some of this is written, and some of it is actually worked on, planned in various degrees, but it's hard to execute it exactly how I planned it in my imagination. That's why it sounds unnatural when I'm trying to plug something in. It's hard to work but you can't just improvise everything into being either. You have to have, it helps to have some work and planning go into it.
Gotcha.
But that's why I write these ideas down. They just come together. It's like organizing building blocks that are just...
But what if you just threw Q-tips?
Yeah. I mean, chaos is just meant to be organized. Is it,
Buy my jewelry.
utterly futile to organize chaos? Or I guess that's the destiny of...
Buy my jewelry out of this weird box.
Hey, that is cool. So those are the... that's like one of your independent business here.
Buy my jewelry out of this weird box.
So they're like pennants.
They are pendants.
Well, there's also like other prints over here and stuff.
Yep.
You actually have quite an elaborate studio. Definitely is an artist's studio. There's a whole tower of...
So these are ink
chaotic paints.
And I started this process when I was in college. 1998, and it's developed into where it is now, and it was in
like abstract
more of
imagery.
a chaotic form.
They remind me of inkblot tests. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but...
Oh no, if it gets Rorschach.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. The symbolic implications of Rorschach and...
Analogy.
Yeah, what comes out of your subconscious and makes the image into what you think it is. But that is cool, because there's almost like through abstract imagery, you find representational ideas.
Well, and it's interesting because the audience will come up and start telling me what they do see, and as Rorschach, I can go, oh, so you're crazy because you saw a demon, and that guy saw a fluffy puppy dog.
And I see like a goat. I see a goat's head in that. But does that make me evil? No, I'm a good person. It just makes me think, why am I seeing a goat's head in that? It's just...
I don't make any...
There's nothing inherently evil about goats, right? Goats freak people out, though. I don't know why.
I don't make any real judgments about it. It's just the conversation is interesting.
Yeah, and try not to be... It's hard not to have a judgment about a conversation, even while you're having it.
What people end up seeing is just always... It's more interesting than it is any need for judgment. I just enjoy...
Yes.
general conversation and what's going on in other people's minds, because who am I to judge? I have crazy thoughts and feelings and everything else, so...
But that's the whole point of art.
To judge other people's crazy thoughts and feelings.
We need that freedom of expression, otherwise we become monotonous robots, right? And we don't want to be controlled by digits and numbers all the time.
Sure.
Because we're a human species, we can't be limited by artificial intelligence. That's the whole point of creating a new idea that's never been done before, or it adds new dimensions and layers of surrealistic metaphors to view this world from different angles in order to find a more enlightening perspective. After all, movies are such a visual medium, you'd think that artists should be involved in the making of them.
Well, you would hope so.
What is that? Could I check out your painting over there? What is that? An owl?
This is actually...
That's cool.
No, this is an owl that I'm doing as a collaboration between a gentleman with special needs and myself for visionaries and voices, and his name is Vince, and we've been doing work together for the last 4 years. And
So what do you mean collaborating? You started the painting and he added the colors, or is it you just both collaborate in various ways?
we come up with the subject together, and then I take actually the projector that's right there, a photograph of whatever animal that it is that we come up with, and then I draw it on here, and his design work that he does are these loops. That's like his signature sort of style. And then, so we'll do the loops together, and then we actually color it in together. So this is almost complete. There's some things that
It's intriguing.
need to fix. This red right here is a little too much. I'm going to balance it out in some places or whatnot.
It always makes you wonder, like, what is it symbolically about owls that make them symbolize wisdom? But they do. They're like symbolic of wisdom because they're so. Is it because they live so long? Because their old age?
I don't know. Are you wise, Al?
That's well, you
I
know.
don't know. I'm kind of feel real pastel right now.
But there's a reason for everything. I guess there could be a metaphorical meaning in everything, or there doesn't have to be a metaphorical meaning in everything either. But
So
depends on how you look at it.
take this background and I'm going to make it a little bit brighter because I think that the value is too close to the owl.
If it was all...
It'll make the owl pop a little bit more if the value is a little bit higher.
See, this is why I don't like judging people's artwork, because I like it a lot. But if it were up to me, being an artist, I would make it all neon, fluorescent, and it would all glow. But that's not, my statement to make, since obviously it's a collaboration between you and...
I haven't even tried. Maybe it does.
Yeah, if you did that all in neon colors, that would be an interesting owl. But I'm just specialize in blacklight artwork too. I guess the only way to find out is to, I have to turn off the other light to see which ones are sensitive to the black light and which ones aren't. Oops.
Well,
Wow.
how about that?
I guess the owl is fluorescent.
So Prismacolors have phosphors in it.
Yes, that's that element that's just that glows in the dark beyond just being recharged in the ultraviolet.
That's ultraviolet, but the things
Beyond
that
what
are
the range
inside that make them actually illuminate the way they do are called phosphors.
The things that make beyond the realm of what the naked eye can see.
Sure.
It almost like fluctuates at a different frequency, right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Oversaturated where they're putting phosphorescent material in so many things just to catch your eye. You mean like?
Yep. They do it on purpose.
Yeah. All other language.
This is where to me I was just like, where you would be able to be informative to someone like me who I am tuning. Like I can jam on this thing, but
They synchronize the G's. So you're saying each string is strung with a G, C, and A.
play G, C.
This is a G chord. This is a C chord. And then there's the A major. Or you could play A minor. Kind of a little bit more of a darker
Just
sound.
actually just set G and C for a second and see if we can even get G and C. Jesse and I'd always play what we call the GC jam.
The GC jam.
Just because if we wanted to get like in the flow together, just stick with like
Just stick with the GC jam.
Yeah, of course you can throw it out there once eventually. But that's your G.
Yep, and then going to C.
They don't sound right together, do they?
Not exactly. With the ukulele is a whole different instrument.
That's your D.
Yeah, that was D actually. You could tell.
Yeah, it's like weird because they're not like just play C for a second. Just C. Then go to G.
I don't know if it's exactly tuning to each other.
Yeah. But we questioned, like, I just tuned mine, and you weren't sure if yours was
Well, I tune it to itself.
fully in tune. Well, 'cause my thing is, mine can be, they can be all equal tune, and so they sound right, but they're all equally out of tune. So
Well, you might have tuned it to a different key or used a tuner, a different way to tune it. And there's so many different tunings for guitar.
Yeah.
I just usually like to stick with the traditional tuning because then you start. I don't know as much about messing around with the different kinds of the tunings of guitar. Some other more professional musicians probably would.
This is the traditional tuning to ukuleles, so it's like. So if they don't really seem to be.
It's a very happy sound though.
Ukuleles?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can do some minors.
That almost did sound like it's the GC jam. So
Well, we were just trying to estimate, like, if you can get G and C to go together, then you can go beyond it.
I was just trying to base on how the strings are set up on the ukulele. Think that it would go with the G chord, the C chord, and the A chord. Going back between those.
Just in general, like, not even it sounding right together. Make sure that this thing's in tune, like you were kind of
You
playing.
might have it tuned to a different, slightly different tuning.
You don't have the tuner on, you do guitar tune.
No, I usually just tune it to itself.
Match up. So now just play your G. Now they sound right together.
Yeah.
See, they sound right together now.
Then put an A. Back to G, or back to C.
So you want to do G, C, and A? I need a. Is this A? Is that? Do your A.
The whole A chord,
That,
that's A major.
so we're both on A.
Yeah.
So yeah, G, C, and A.
I'm going to D after that. I just
But
get kind of bored.
if we just stick with G, C, and A right now, then we can like. If you go too far off, then it's gonna be.
All over the place. I know, I get kind of bored playing the same chords over and over again. I like to
But when you're
improvise.
trying to connect with someone,
Yeah, I'm just playing G, C, and A.
and then you can tear off from there. But it's like first you
Well,
gotta connect, you
Well,
know.
of course.
So that's what like when Jesse and I play, we just like try to get connected, and then once you get connected, then you can run off or try to.
Yes, of course. Almost like forcing you to use two different parts of your brain at the same time that you should have to use at the same time.
But if you're
Like trying to play music
somebody,
is
you gotta
and
kind of
explain it
like
at the same time. It's very
be
difficult.
on. So you at least need to know like when the changes are, when the
Yeah.
measures, you know, to whatever degree. So it's like
So
you're not
you
just
know-
randomly switching up all the time and not knowing where each other are. You know.
Well, of course. I'll just start the E chord
You're going G to A to C. Is that what you're doing?
Going from G to C to A, and then to D, and then back to G.
Cut the the D out for a minute.
Where does it sound finished if I go? Where do I go from A? It's kind of like music theory, I guess.
Don't they usually work in triads?
Well, yeah, you could do that. It just sounds better when I go from A to D. Or I could just go from G.
Do your D.
C to A, and then from back from A. It just doesn't sound as good.
Do your D. Do your D. So that is, I am playing D, right?
Yeah, that's D. Definitely looks like it's in the shape of D. Some chords are named random, arbitrarily. Some chords are randomly, like, some chords look like the shape of the letter, some don't. You know, it just depends.
So where are you going from? You're going from G to C to D to A? Or D?
G, C, yeah.
Or is it A to
Actually
D?
going from G to C to A to then D. And then back to G, and then starting over
So
again.
G to C
It's kind of
to...
like a cycle of
Say it again.
existence.
G to C to A to D or D to A?
G to C to A. And it could go on endlessly with them.
But I just, to me, unless somebody, you know, me trying to follow, I was just like, instead of me going, no, this is not.
And then you kind of have to have it planned out to know where you're going to go and improvise from there. But it's hard to plan improvisation out because sometimes that's where the magical accidents happen musically.
Just the fact that I was able to find the chords and get us in tune and get us to follow each other. Pretty sweet.
A round table of modern philosophers. Thank you for tuning in to the Gnome King's Castle, a round table of modern philosophers. Let the Gnome King wizard enlighten you here to find different points of view. Yeah. An interesting conversation about how capitalism can be good or bad as long as it's hard to not buy into the temptation to become greedy about it, but the only way you can empower yourself to become on top of the capitalistic game is to become greedy. But then again, you don't want to be selfish and arrogant about it, so I guess that is the nature of competitive capitalism. But it just seems like the odds would be stacked for the most competitive ones, which doesn't leave other things like art as much room to grow. But anyways, so there's always the symbolic bear of capitalism trying to take over territory, but then it's like it has to survive. But can it survive and maintain an equilibrium throughout its environment, without succumbing to being too dominating over other aspects of culture?
That's the question.
That is the question. So I guess the capitalism could be symbolized as a bear, but it's not necessarily bad. Depending on how you look at it, bears have to survive. They're part of this wilderness just like humans. Must be nice to not have to worry about money to survive for a bear. It's just slightly less complicated.
No, but there's other elements of
existence that can be... Right now, what are you doing, actually? You look like you're intrigued.
yes, because this happened completely by accident. This completely happened by accident.
Sometimes the biggest happy accidents can be the most, like, insightful forms of inspiration.
These circles are being cut out to be a part of my pendants, and I just happened to set them on the ceramic when it comes to what I make my, my ink pieces out of.
Yeah.
And then it was interesting because it sort of seemed like the white ceramic became the foreground, and those colors can kind of become the background.
But depending, it's all in depending on the perspective.
I did not expect, yeah.
Sometimes you can see something completely different from a different angle.
Yeah.
Then we come across the weird decoration, celestial orbs and spatial vibrations. Sometimes short blurbs are the most impactful. Yeah, the background is fluctuating. Tony Behr's artwork. The bear of capitalism does not seem that menacing, actually, when you look at it. Depending on...
Metaphysical beings are a byproduct of my imaginative environment, or are they the byproduct of an overactive imagination? But then again, my imagination has always been the most comforting defense mechanism for me ever since I was a child.
It's the bear.
So let me just
We must pray to the magic Gnome King wizard to help save us.
Dimensional subatomic particles form infinitesimal symmetrical star people patterns. They're usually too small for human eyes to see because they are microscopic level in another dimensional plane, like that radiating through the carpet superimposed across the floor. You could see through everything infinitely.
Look at that! Did you expect that?
Wow.
To laugh at
It's not wise to laugh at the madman.
Not wise to laugh at a madman.
Get that thing out of my face. What are you doing interrogating me?
How does it feel when everyone else wants to laugh at you and make fun of your kind? Oh, makes you feel so low.
I pray to the magic Gnome Kingdom to bring me to life after Halloween so I can live beyond just Halloween. And so the magic Gnome King wizard brought me to life, gave me this life beyond Halloween. So that I am thankful to him for it. But the the end of our production. Thank you for joining us.
Now says doesn't let you join in. Yes. Yes. Doesn't mean you have something to say. It might be very relevant. Maybe you're mad because it's for a good reason. It's the Gnome King wizard. Fascists have taken over your dreams and you're gonna give away your best. Going back to the Gnome King's castle. It seems like it's for everyone needs hope. Keep up alive. That's right.